Hello, I wanted to make a video about why all drugs should be legalized. Because I've been thinking about it a lot lately because it's had a big effect on me because of my epilepsy. Which you should know, is that the medicine they give for it is very strong. It's stronger than marijuana and can get you very high. I could sell it to heroin addicts. I cannot sell marijuana to heroin addicts if I wanted to sell it. Now, another thing is that drugs are socially acceptable, and nothing socially acceptable should be a crime. It's weird. It's weird for people, you know? It's just weird. And so why were they ever made illegal? Why were these drugs and not these drugs made legal? Well, the answer is that is two reasons. An attempt at the government to create racial divisiveness, and an attempt by the government to stop cultural infiltration by Native Americans. Now, these two, straight from the outset, seem horrible. You may have some questions if the answer is racial divisiveness, then why wasn't this an issue during the civil rights movement? Well, during the civil rights movement, just police brutality for any crime was a big problem, so it could have been any number of things. But I don't know, obviously. But this has been ratified. It's an issue now. Anyway, but it was used, cannabis or marijuana, for as an anticonvulsant before it was made illegal. And if you were using it, you would have been told, "I'm sorry, but marijuana makes you black. So it's going to be prohibited." Now, how does it make you black? Well, it makes you have sex with black people. Now, a drug can make you want to have sex. Those are called aphrodisiacs. But the way they do this is they activate the senses in your genitals. So they can't make you decide. That would require telepathy. They can just make you, like, rub up against the walls. They can't make you decide. Like, there's not a drug that can make you have sex with a pineapple. Because that would require telepathy. Also, pineapples don't have sex, but I don't know. Plants have sex in weird ways. I don't know how they pollinate, or they just grow a root or something. They just grow. But so this racial division is racial division. These types of this was the campaign in the 30s. Over time, and it was made illegal and prohibited in 1937, and it was and over time with the civil rights movement and stuff, the campaigns changed to addiction, but addiction is sort of keeping in line with the whole it has telepathy. It can keep you on it. It can keep you on it. It has telepathy. It's a gateway drug. It can make you move to stronger drugs. And this is actually with any drug that is illegal right now. It is a racially divisive thing, attempt. With Chinese people, with Mexicans, with anyone who they want to say you're not really Americans. They have a way, and they have a way now because of the illegal drugs, and the and another thing is that is with the now let's talk about the second reason, the fear of cultural infiltration. Despite the fact that there's a separation of church and state, there was a great fear of cultural infiltration by Native Americans with drugs, because Native Americans had beliefs like that of spirit pipes, that there could be sacred pipes. Well, they have this belief. This is a very low quality video. And they have beliefs that drugs like hallucinogens can are holy and can make you like communicate to the gods in some way. They're gods. Not, if you may notice, the white God, which is, I don't know, God, Jesus, or whatever. So fear of this infiltrating, which it does a little bit in marijuana culture, because there's a big aspect of it is sharing. We share, and we always share because it's about peace. And this is a big aspect, and this is spiritual in some way, and this comes from, and this is actually infiltration from Native Americans. So they were afraid of that. They didn't want that. But and so these two reasons, fear of cultural infiltration and creating racial divisiveness, and having a reason that they could demonize not the drugs themselves, but the people who use the drugs, who, even though they weren't necessarily the people they said they were, because after all, people like me, or people who are using cannabis and who are like, what? How can a drug make you black? That's stupid. You're stupid, and you're cruel, and you're brutal, and you're a bully. And so all drugs should be legalized, because you cannot put people in a prison for using drugs, because you cannot make using drugs in this, because making drugs the same as that puts them on the same level somehow as killing someone or robbing a bank. And prison is an awful place, and it is for people who do terrible things. It is not for people who use drugs, because people who use drugs are doing one of three things. They are hanging out, they are taking medicine, or they are praying. Now, what is the issue? The issue is they may be praying to a God that is not yours. Now, this is not, now this completely, now, America is supposed to be, there is supposed to be a separation of church and state. However, somehow America is puritanical and has ridiculous draconian laws. America has claimed on television that racism is over, and yet they have laws that were made as a direct result of an attempt by the government to create racial divisiveness. This is why all drugs should be legalized. Now, I wanted to make this speech because it is something that I feel strongly about, and I do not see anywhere on the internet this people making these arguments even though they are all true. And even though only the moderator may see this video, I still need to say these things because I feel empty and hollow on the inside because of how awful all the people are and how much they bully people who use drugs and are just awful and terrible and mean and cruel. Thank you. So, you should legalize drugs if you're a good person and you believe in true morality.